So in today's class, we will be discussing about significant figures. First of all, there are 5 rules to identify digits which are significant. The first rule is that all non-zero digits are significant, which means that all the numbers that are not zero are significant. For example, the number 7258 has 4 significant figures. Let's move on to rule 2. Rule 2 says that all zeros between non-digits are significant. For example, the number 332.047 has 5 significant figures. For example, if you have 0 in between of a number, for example 5024, then in this case 0 would also be a significant number, and hence you will have 4 significant figures. The third rule says that in a decimal, all zeros after a non-zero digit are significant. For example, if you have 5.002, this means that there are 4 significant figures. But if you had a question which said 0.04, then you would only have 1 significant figure. And if you had a number 0.40, then in this case you would have 2 significant figures, because you have a significant figure after a non-zero digit. Moving on to rule 4. Rule 4 says that in a decimal, all zeros before a non-zero digit are not significant. For example, if you have a question 0.004, then the first, second and third zero won't be considered as a significant number, and in this case you will only have 1 significant figure, which would be the number 4 itself. So in order for the numbers, or in order for zeros to be significant figure, they should come after a non-zero number. For example, if you have 0.400, then you will have 3 significant figures, because 4 and the rest of the 2 zeros would be considered as significant figures. Moving on to rule 5. Rule 5 says in whole numbers, the zeros at the end may or may not be significant. It depends on how the numbers are approximated. Now, in order to develop a better understanding, we will have some questions. Now the question is, state the number of significant figures in each of the following. Now in part A, you have the number 39018. So how many significant figures are there? 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So there are 5 significant figures. Let's move on to part B. Part B says that the question is 0.028030. Now how many significant numbers do you have here? We have 5 significant figures or numbers. How? I told you that the first, if you have a zero digit then in the start, then it would not be considered as a significant figure. The only time 0 is considered as a significant figure is when it is after a non-zero digit. So the significant figure in this question is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Moving on to part C, it says 2900 to the nearest 10. So 2900 to the nearest 10 has 3 significant figures. Now let's move on to this question. The question says round off each of the following to the number of significant figures as given in the brackets. So the first question is 728 to 2 significant figures. We have to round it off. Now the first significant figure is 7 itself, and the second significant figure is 2, and the third number is 8. Now as 8 is bigger than 5, this 2 will become 3. So after rounding it off, your answer would be 730. Moving on to part B. In part B, the question is 503.88 to 4 significant figures. Now let's count the significant figures 1, 2, 3 and 4. This means 503 would remain the same, and as you can see, the fifth number is bigger than 5. This 8 will become 9. So your answer would be 503.9. let's move on to part C. In part C, the question is 0.0030185 to 4 significant figures. Now, the first significant figure starts from 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So we have to round it off to the fourth significant figure. So write this as 0.00301. And as you can see, the fifth number or the number after 8 is 5. 8 would become 9. And this will be your answer. Moving on to part D. Part D says that the question is 6396 to 2 significant figures and to 3 significant figures. So let's solve for 2 significant first. So 6396. The second significant figure is 3. So 3 becomes 4 because the number after 3 is bigger than 5. So your answer is 6400. Now let's move on to 3 significant figures. 6396. So 1, 2 and 3. So the third significant figure is 9. As the number after 9 is 6, this will become 10. But of course we can't write 10, right? So this would also become 6400. Moving on to part D. In part D, the question says 9.9999 to 3 significant figures. So 1, 2, 3. So the third significant figure is 9 itself. But even if we were to round it off, it would eventually become 10.00. Moving on to part F says 8.076 to 3 significant figures. Now 1, 2, 3. The third, you will write 8.0. The third significant figure is 7, and after 7 you have 6. So 7 will become 8. So this would be your answer. I hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching.